All right, guys, I won't let this play too long since I did start a little bit late, but thank you so much for tuning in. If you're just coming on the stream, very excited for tonight. Can't wait to kind of show you guys what we got in store. Hit that thumbs up. Let's get it. We'll let this rock one more time, and then we'll get right to it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, let me just do this again.
I see project branding with that's on here. Really cool. We're also gonna change the kickstand now, guys. Let's see if we can hopefully I'm all good, guys. I wrote over something.
What's good, guys? Mike is in the building. Welcome to another Freestyle Sunday. Super excited for our guest tonight. Really dope. Can't wait to kind of bring her on and have you guys chat up or either ask questions or even get to know her a little bit. A lot to cover tonight, guys. So hopefully you guys are having a good one. It's been an interesting one, to say the least. It's been cold out here in New York, man. And that can get a little bit heavy on the heart when it's cold. So... and you guys know I love riding, so whenever we're not riding and it's cold, it gets dreary. But we're going to do some usual cleanup, guys, just to say what's up to everybody that's tuned in, that's actually watching the stream, and basically kind of recognize before we kind of move forward into the stream and kind of give a little recognition. You guys know I like doing that and highlighting you all. That's what makes this whole thing worth it. So I actually like doing that. But before we go any further, we have to do some house cleaning. I'm going to need you to hit that thumbs up if you're tuning in, if you're watching. If you're watching this afterwards, leave a comment. Or if you're in the live chat, you definitely want to comment because that drives engagement. And that thumbs up definitely worth it. So I did drop a new video this week. And I dropped a short as well, which is doing pretty good. That's fairly new to the game. So let's take a quick look at some of the comment and say what's up. So we have Cali Moto's in the building. What's up? And we have that guy Kels, some of the usual suspect. We have Blue Sky 21. That's a new face in the building. No, I think you've been here before, dude. Queen's in the house. That's some New York people, guys. Let's see what we got. Usual suspect, Governor D. Nice, thank you so much for tuning in. He's also greeting other people in the chat, so really appreciate you guys coming through. I'm not going to hold you guys up too long. Oh, almost forgot, Futuristic Vipers in the building. What's up, dude? Very excited for you guys to be here. Thank you all for tuning in. You guys know the deal. Still got the 3 babies right behind me. Hopefully, if I do get an opportunity, I might do that 3-bike startup, but you guys know it's difficult sometimes going through all of this stuff and getting the video on its way. So that's just to say that, guys. So for now, let's talk about our guest tonight, which I think is super cool because let's just say she's not like your she's not your ordinary like girl next door. So I think it's gonna be something pretty cool. But first off, guys, I want to say a big thank you to all the people that did a super chat in our past live stream. Twitch Drift did one, Neo Bear, Anthony Lamastro, and Manny FZ07. So that's been really, really cool. And it's really cool when people come through and show love and kind of, you know, it's not a huge deal. It's not a must, but it shows me that you guys appreciate what we're doing and the time that was spent that goes into putting this whole thing together. But without further ado, let's kind of talk about Lara Croft. And we're going to dive into that name because I want to know as well. She is a very interesting person, to say the least. A great writer. Most likely probably a way better writer than I am. If you guys want to hit her up, all right, you could hit up in Instagram, Lara Croft. And also, I would definitely recommend you guys subscribe to her crew, Moto Tribe. Really cool and interesting stuff. And she is pretty active, guys. She went from riding BMW to Ducati. That's something we'll kind of chat about, because at least when we first met, I knew she was very heavy into the BMW vibe and how well she enjoyed it. And slowly and surely, we've seen her on a Speciale, on a Ducati Monster, doing press runs for Ducati. So that's really, really cool. And some of the cool things we're going to talk about is her being on track. You can see her in the lower left of the screen going ham, okay? Probably you can't see your boy doing something like this because probably I can't, okay? So that's pretty cool. We're going to be covering a couple of things. Moto Tribe is a new movement she started with her girlfriends, which is really, really interesting. I mentioned this in our last stream on how the ladies tend to be a little bit more organized and a little bit more in tune with one another when it comes to whether it's motorcycles or any other event. They tend to come together. Superbike world or sport bike world. With us guys, it's kind of like all man for themselves kind of thing, and I kind of like that stuff a lot. And I did mention she went from BMW to Ducati now, doing press events, right? I want to know about her preferred riding styles, and I've seen a couple of group rides and track rides. So that's some of the stuff we will be talking about, but I want to show you guys this. This is really cool. This is her promo. It's about a 2-minute clip, but definitely going to enjoy this, especially if you guys love beautiful roads, beautiful bikes. Check it out, man. This is just a little bit of taste of what these guys do when they go out there and enjoy themselves. And I'm gonna have to jump right back in, guys, a little bit later, just to kind of say what's up. I see Red Spades in the building. That's part of the Moto Tribe team. Hopefully we can get her here as well, guys. The Iron Shepherd's in the building. We have quite a few more people joining, so we'll just kind of get back to it. But thank you all for tuning in. If you are watching, definitely hit that thumbs up. It's going to help. And again, if you're watching, you want to show love, go to Moto Tribe on YouTube, subscribe to them. They're on the come up. I love what they're doing. Very strong thumbnails, very strong reviews. They're doing a lot of press event. I love that. And I love the unity amongst them, which is really cool, guys. So let's get back to it, man. Some fun facts about Laura Craft, guys. She's a huge adventurer, as you can see from the clip that we just ran. Well rolled, right? Most people are probably gonna wonder, how does she get all her toys? She's pretty big into investments, so that's really cool and impressive. Okay. She did a Revzilla event, I think a couple of months back, if I'm not mistaken, with a lot of really big names and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And she's always in leathers, guys. So this is not kind of like a thing about looks. It's more about her being very safe when she's on the road. I've noticed it's a very common thing on all of her theme if you go through her Instagram or anything like that, or any of her rides. So that's really, really cool. We're gonna cover some of her stat, guys, and she does put in work, guys, and it's not just about the bikes really in her. I mean, she's good at what she does, and she rides well. You can see for yourself. All right, her stats says it's all on Instagram. She's rocking 63,000 followers. Really cool. On the Moto Tribe YouTube channel, it's new, guys. Okay, it's new. It's young. Since if it's in its infancy, so we're gonna need your help to kind of help that move upwards, up the ladder, because I think they do deserve a little bit more notoriety in what they do. We're talking about 4.6 subscribers and 600,000 plus views in a very short period of time, and I think that's really dope. Come on, look at that. This is another one of the shots of her in track, right? I mean, doing track. I mean, very impressive riding, man. I mean, for me, I mean, I ride, but not to this degree, so I can admit my limitations. So really cool, very impressive to see that. And of course, we are going to do some Q&As in the end. So if you're here, thumbs up, helps with the algorithm. Also, towards the end, we're gonna rock through those questions, answer everything, anything and everything. So whether it's about bikes, about her, about gear, about events, press events, stuff like that, we'll try to do our best. Of course, I'd appreciate everybody stay nice and professional. You guys know I don't run that kind of stream anyway, so, and I don't think I have to do that disclaimer, but you never know. Some other people might come in that we don't know. So be mindful and be respectful, all right? And we're gonna welcome, all right, Laura Craft, guys, all right? Hang it in there. Go. There we go, boys. Welcome, Laura Craft.
Thank you. That was an awesome intro. I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, you guys, like, you did it professional. You've put in your homework. We've got a lot to learn on Moto Tribe. I mean, we are a really young channel. We've been around for a little under a year, so a lot more to learn there.
Well, the good thing is we're all growing, we're all learning. Trust me, the learning process goes a long way for everybody, and everybody starts somewhere. We love growing with each stream. I'm sure some people that are watching can attest to the fact that they've seen a lot of growth with what we do as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself and Moto Tribe. There's just so much to cover, and I'm super excited to have you here, guys. I just want to kind of mention this, guys. Laura and I met a couple of years ago in New York Motorcycle Show, guys, and I was a little hesitant to kind of hit her up, but because it's been a while. But she's cool as ice, the same way she was a couple of years ago, still the same, looks the same vibes, and she was more than able to come on and just join us. So really cool. So tell us a little bit more about you, man.
Yeah. I mean, I've been writing for a bit, and it was really cool that you had me out because it had been a bit, and we did talk, I guess, a few years ago, and so we had the past text, and so it jogged my memory of us hanging out up in New York, which was a lot of fun. But that just goes to show how small this community is. We're all interconnected, and you run across someone, and it can be a few years later, and you can reach back out to them and just pick up where you left off. So like, that's what I think is so cool.
I agree because it felt like supernatural just reaching out and talking to you. The minute we got past the boundaries of like just, hey, what's going on? It was just like yesterday all over again. You know what I mean? So really, really cool. But I have been active. I am keeping an eye out, watching your stuff and being super active. I'm a little bit hesitant when it comes to like people being on social media. I'm like, you don't want to be simping too much over views. So I give people their spaces. But really cool. No, go ahead. You were saying?
Oh, totally. I totally get that because I mean, social media is a whole different world. Instagram, just seeing a bunch of pictures and you get to peek into their lives, but you don't really know them. You're not having a conversation with them. So it's not like you can like say, oh yeah, I remember all these things that you did. It's not like you did them necessarily together. So it can be a little bit of a strange thing.
Yeah, but the great thing about the entire thing is that it was easy to kind of pick up where we left off. And I'm like, I hope she doesn't take this into offense, but I'm super glad that you're here. One of the main thing I wanted to talk about, you're heavy into Ducati right now, super heavy. And I remember you were just like S1000 double R all the way a couple of years back. Walk us through that. How did that transition started? What happened? I want to know.
Yeah. So totally. And I can kind of start a little bit of how I got into motorcycling, what my first bike was too. So my first bike was a BMW. It was an F800 ST. I was new to the riding community and I wanted a bike that I thought was reliable, dependable. And the F800 ST had a little screen that would show me the tire pressure, which I thought was really great at the time when I was a new rider. And after that bike, I got more into the sport bike, moved beyond the sport touring, got my S1000RR, loved it. I rode mostly in the mountains, rarely in the city.
I was going to ask about that because you do a lot of different roads. So yes, keep going.
Yeah. So like, the F800 ST, I rode that a lot in the city. And then when I started going up to the mountains, I'm like, I need something more. My F800 ST was a belt driven and I wore the suspension out on that. So it was like a pogo stick and I had to upgrade the suspension. And, most of the people I was riding with all had sport bikes. And I love the S1000RR. It was one of my dream bikes when it first came out. And so I had the opportunity to buy one and I got it. I actually got Nate Kern's old one. It was his first bike. Wow. So it was a few years old. And I, rode that in the mountains, really enjoyed it. A lot of my friends do track. I got dragged into track and then I was addicted to track. It's one of those things of once you go to track, you don't go back to the mountains. And that was definitely the case for me. I rode track heavy for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And then I kind of got burnt out from doing a lot of track. I have a career in investments, and so it felt like I was burning the candle on both ends. And I just kind of took a pause for a second, and then that's when I was not riding track and trying to ride my S1000 in the mountains, I was riding it very aggressively. Because when you go to track, you learn those skills of being hard on the throttle, the brakes, and everything of those sorts. And so I wanted a bike that challenged me a little bit more, that had more personality, that had, a feel to it. And Ducatis do have that. They're different to me than a BMW. A BMW is very smooth. It's a lot easier to ride than a Ducati. And Ducatis are just sexy bikes. The Speciale was a bike that I just saw and I was like, wow, like that would be an amazing bike to get. And I bought it used. I've bought all my bikes used. I've never bought a single new bike. And so I got a good deal on it. And, it makes me feel something when I ride it.
You know what's so wild, crazy? So one, you're making me feel bad. Okay. She's like, I got a great deal and I got it used. I'm like, I'm so paranoid when it comes to buying bikes about getting like a lemon or something weird. Trying to figure out the best way to phrase this. When things were a little bit more challenging, okay, in my world, yes, I would pick up a bike used. But now things are a little bit greener, right? I've purchased my bike all new with like warranty, making sure everything is all great. But lucky you managed to kind of do it without having any issues. So that's super, super interesting, man. But there's a lot of nightmare stories I hear in New York about people buying bikes. So maybe that kind of skewed my opinion about it a little bit. But like you were saying about Ducatis having a lot of personality. That's one of the biggest things. As you guys could see, my entire little collection is pretty much all Ducati. They all have different personalities, and not that they're the best bikes. I never like to say anything's the best, but they make you feel a certain way. Very, very special when you're out there, when you go in a meeting for work or something like that, or whether you're out in the mountains with friends. The bike has this thing about it, and it's hard to explain until you have your own, like you said. So, would you say, because you do have an L-twin Monster, correct? A 1200S, I think?
Yeah, I have a 1200S.
So, coming from the BMW, the inline four, I know they were super popular because they were a lot easier to go really, really fast. And I'm going to cover a couple of things you talked about, you doing a lot more track. But talking about you going really, really fast with that bike, do you find that the Speciale is a lot easier to actually run and ride easier? Because I have my Street Fighter running the same power plant, and I'm telling you from all of my other Ducatis, the easiest thing to ever ride, the biggest bike, the most powerful, the easiest thing. Do you agree?
The Speciality, I think, has more of a personality. I have not ridden the Street Fighter. I hear that it rides a little bit more smooth. But the Speciale I have is the 2018.
Okay.
So I think I'd have to ride it to compare. I mean, the BMW is just, it makes any rider look great on there. And going back to your earlier point about buying used bikes, I found that fascinating. I didn't really think about it until you said it, but every single bike that I bought, I had a relationship with the person who owned the bike. So that made me comfortable, or I had a warranty. Okay. Like both my Monster and the Speciale, they both had warranties, like for a period of time after I got the bike. So I could get it all checked out, and I extended the Speciale's warranty. But my first bike, like I can still call and text the guy that I bought it from, and same thing with the second bike. It was Nate Karen's old bike. So, I felt like they were good bikes to buy. So that is something interesting. I had never really thought about that.
How did you end up with his bike? That's really cool.
Yeah, so there was an owner in between us, and the owner in between us worked at the BMW shop. So I essentially bought it from someone who worked at the BMW shop. So I felt comfortable with that. They knew the ins and outs of the bike. Okay. And, anytime that I needed something or I had a question, they would help me out.
All right. I guess this one, I found another person did something really interesting like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Jacob from Motivation is part of their team. He managed to end up with Carl Wyman's R1, actually. Really, really beautiful bike. I think he stripped it down and kind of worked on it and repaired everything all the way. But he has an official Moto America R1 that they take on track all the time. So that's very impressive, and I think that's really cool. And I'm actually surprised he got rid of that bike since it had a name attached to it also.
Yeah. It was just one of those things. I was ready to move on. And I felt like I wasn't doing track as much, and I didn't necessarily want to ride it on the street because I wasn't riding it appropriately. So I wanted to kind of move on to Ducatis.
Okay. All right. So you were just ready for that jump. Because I remember when you were back in New York, I had my Monster, and I was the guy that was like, guys, you got to check out. Because even Eve was there too, and he was like really big into BMW and Aprilia. And I was the guy with the Monster, and I'm like, guys, you guys really got to jump on this and try it. It has this thing about it. And I was kind of, you don't want to be that guy that's pushing it on everybody, but I'm like, I really like mine. I love the personality about it. And then, granted, I think during that time frame, Ducati didn't have pretty much a lock on the industry yet. Basically, they didn't have the best bike yet. Now they're winning. If you look at the grid line, it's mostly Ducatis now. They're actually talking about maybe a ban because there are too many of them, and they're dominating kind of thing, which is kind of weird. But now new power plants, so things are a little bit different. But I want to ask you about this because you're heavy into track, and I was talking on our last stream about me potentially doing track in the future. Would you say you being heavily influenced by track riding has helped you quite a bit street riding?
Yes, as long as I don't take how I'm riding on track and ride like that on street. Yes, absolutely. I became a much more skilled rider. I will say that I felt like I was a really good mountain rider, and then I go to the track and it's a completely different animal. because you have so much more pavement that you can use side to side, and you're going at much more, faster paces, and the braking is different. And so I was for sure a novice. But I felt like I had a lot of room for improvement. And the neat thing about track is you have coaches out there who can help you progress. And then once you start progressing, that is addicting, because you're like, oh, wow, I can see how I'm moving from like novice to intermediate, and, and doing more, faster paces. And I don't know, it's really, really fun. It's muscle memory, and it's also, being in that groove. So for me, like when I haven't been doing track that much recently, which is another thing. Like for me, it was like I was in it for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then I kind of broke from it. I did go back to track. I say I moonlight now at track. And I was not as fast as I used to be. And that's to be expected.
You know what's strange? I'm smiling, right? I'm smiling at you. I'm smiling at everybody, like at the chat, at the live chat. And I'm trying to, the entire day I was thinking about our conversation and how I'm going to have this conversation, because I don't want it to be like, okay, I don't want Laura to be like a guy and girl kind of thing. But I have to ask this, right? Because I love the fact that you mentioned you being on track. It definitely helped you riding in the street. But then you were cognizant enough to know, like, hey, I'm in the street, I can hold that back. And I've seen a lot of cases where guys that does track, and it's not like a guy and a girl thing. I really do not want to kind of go down that direction. But I just feel like you're self-aware very quickly, knowing that, hey, it's not the track, I'm in the street, I'm doing my thing, and this is street riding. I've seen some very spirited riding that you've done in the canyons. So would you say that was a natural progression, that the minute you left the track, when you're on the road, you know better kind of thing, or at first you were going really hard and then something happened where it's like, hey, this is not the track kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that I wasn't riding street that much when I was doing track, because all my time was at track. I don't know how many track days I did in that year and a half, 2 years, but I did a lot. So whenever I had a free moment, I was at track and not in going to the mountains. But when I did take my bike out, I was, there's muscle memory with your like throttle response. And so I obviously was at first doing what I was doing on track, and I was like, oh my God, I'm picking up speed way, way too fast. I don't need to be doing this when I'm on the street. So it was something that I had to be conscious of. It wasn't something that, I realized that it was going to happen like that. But what I do when I go to the mountains is I try not to do like, there's Blood Mountain near us, and a lot of people will go up and down Blood Mountain. And I try not to do that, because then it's like treating the mountain like your track day. And so I try to, go up the mountain. Maybe I'll do it twice, but I don't try to do like laps like a lot of people, because then I feel like you are essentially treating it like a track.
No. So, Dag, you're supposed to be giving me like curveballs where I could ask you super interesting thing, but you seem super in control. And I think that's what makes a very good rider, not the fastest rider or the best in the mountains with friends, but just hearing your thoughts about riding and your approach about now not going up and down the mountain, being very disciplined about it. I'm assuming it's the same thing when you ride as a group with your friends as well, because I see you guys always ride together and pretty much do a lot together. And I'm assuming you share the same thought, right? Would you say that?
Yeah, I mean, we generally speaking, yes, we share the same thought, and we love riding together because we know each other's skills and abilities, and so we find that safe. It's comforting, and we're best friends. I know we have had a time when someone wanted to come ride with us, and we said sure, and they were in this massive group, and so we were looking for that person, and all of a sudden their whole group of 20 people were like riding up to come ride with us. And we don't normally ride with a lot of people because you don't know their skills and abilities. I think it makes it a tad riskier.
It's so funny. I share a similar experience whenever I ride, and whenever you show up kind of thing, and there's a lot of guys. I mean, this is something more specific, tailored to guys riding, when we all get together, things get a little bit heated sometime. And what I tend to do, me personally, I usually hang back. So my most recent experience towards the tail end of 2021, I went to a motorcycle event, to the point where, it's been a while, with the whole cough thing going on and people staying in. And I bit the bullet. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to go to this event, check it out. And lo and behold, that a lot of people tend to immediately recognize you, either if you're on social media and stuff like that. And then there was a pretty big Ducati crowd. And I specifically, when I speak with my wife, I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna bail out a little bit ahead before everybody kind of go. You know how it is. Everybody's peeling out at the excitement. And I try to practice the small things. Like I try to leave like 10 minutes ahead kind of thing. And everybody's like, no. I'm like, you should hang out. Let's go and get pizza and go and hang out and do whatever. And keep practicing the same thing I do. After saying no a couple of times, I'm like, all right, fine, let's go. I rode the side in the back, and the biggest cascading pileup happened. And I'm talking about Speciales, carbon fibers. We're talking about, it was at least 600 grand of motorcycles, all kind of just not completely total, but all were damaged to some degree. And the reason I'm kind of telling this story is because how you said that when people tend to kind of compile all together the minute they see you. And I always tend to ride somewhat either the back. And a lot of people tend to interpret that, oh, this guy's slow, or he doesn't want to go hard. But really what I'm doing is I rather have a great time, go home, see my family, do my thing, and enjoy it another time kind of thing, Don't let the testosterone get the best of you kind of thing. So that's the case. So how you guys deal with that when crowd starts coming around and stuff? Do you guys kind of just say you bailing out, or what ends up happening? Because I'm assuming you guys going to drive crowds for several reasons. One, of course, it's the three ladies there. Of course, the beautiful motorcycles, and it's just a lot. And the road's perfect. So I'm assuming it's like the perfect trifecta.
It doesn't happen that often. Like the one I was just telling a second ago, that was the only time that I can really remember where we had 20 people line up right behind us. Otherwise, occasionally we'll get like a rider or two that will join our ride, but they tend to be pretty respectful. So it's not bad. I mean, I think there has been a rider or two where they'll get in front of us and, they'll do wheelies, or they'll try to do tricks or something. And, that's when I'll like back off and, maybe we'll turn and go down a different road or do something else, but it doesn't happen that often.
Okay.
So which is a nice thing.
All right. So I know you guys started a new venture, right, with Moto Tribe. And guys, if you're watching, definitely hit the thumbs up for the stream. Drop comments. In the end, we're going to reply to people or answer all those questions. And if you are watching, definitely go and subscribe to Moto Tribe, guys. Really cool. Can you walk us a little bit about Moto Tribe? What's the idea that you guys are all together, and the ladies that's with you? I know Red Spade's part of it, and she's pretty lit when you talk about Instagram. And there's a third lady, of course, with you guys. So just kind of walk us what it's about. What do you do? I see some press events, which are very impressive. I watched the last one where Red Spade did the Multistrada review, the press event. So if you're watching, well, you were here. I just said hello. I'd love to have you on as well. So get your take. So walk us through Moto Tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. Moto Tribe really came out of the pandemic. So, something positive did happen. Me, Red Spade, so Anna, and then Sarah Merrill, we're all close friends. We do ride together. Me and Anna live relatively close together. We've been riding together for too many years that I can remember. I think around eight or so years. And then Sarah, we've been riding maybe like 5 or 6 years, so a little bit less than that, but we've been close friends, and we normally take trips for the three of us to get together. And during the pandemic, everyone had their social bubbles, or their bubbles that, they felt like were safe. And so we were all in the same little COVID bubble together that, we could go ride and be around each other. And so we did a lot of riding in 2020. And, so we started texting every day in a group text, and we talked motorcycles, and we all have an Instagram page, and we're like, wait a second, like we should, well, and then I got addicted to YouTube. That was the other thing that happened during the pandemic, because I started watching podcasts and I started watching a lot more motorcycle YouTube channels. And I was like, hey, we should do a podcast. I mean, we're already texting about it daily, about motorcycles, where to go ride, what to go do. And, we learn from each other. And we're like, why don't we just get on a podcast and, talk to each other? And so that's how it started, because none of us knew how to video edit. None of us, well, maybe Anna did, but I definitely did not. I knew nothing of the sorts. I'm not tech savvy of the sort in any way. And so we wanted to do it easy and just say, okay, let's take some topics that, we've had to think about, like what was our first motorcycle, or how did we get into riding? And we took it in that direction first. And then over the course of last year, we all got sponsored by Insta360. So we all have Insta360 cameras on our bikes.
Okay.
And so that's where whenever we go ride, we'll take video and then we'll put a video together. And we're always thinking of like rides to go do, but whether we'd be doing this YouTube channel or not, we'd be doing the rides. And so sometimes we go ride and we don't even take video. We don't even take a single picture. Like sometimes those are the most fun.
That's true. My only tip I would give you guys, don't allow it to become the sole thing, because eventually I had to pull back with my own recording because I felt like it was hindering a little bit of my own pleasure. So now I kind of have a schedule when I want to record things and kind of have them ready to go. And then when it's time to enjoy my own bike, enjoy the road, and I just do my own thing. So that's pretty cool. So the other thing about Moto Tribe, I think that's really cool. You guys seem to be getting recognized fairly quickly, and your quality definitely speak for itself. I saw that you did the Ducati Monster press fit, right? And then I seen that Red Spade did the Multistrada one. So how's that working out regarding getting into these positions? Are brands reaching out, or manufacturers reaching out, or you guys are kind of following up, or is just naturally falling into place?
I think because we all had an Instagram following, that we had connections. And then it was really interesting that once we created the YouTube channel, these companies reached out to us, a lot of them proactively, which I was like, wow, that's like Revzilla reached out to us and was like, hey, we've been following you on Instagram and now you're doing this YouTube channel. Would love to connect and see how we can collaborate. And so some of it's happened like that. Or, again, we've all had an Instagram following, and these companies we have relationships with, and we do a press release and we're like, oh, well, we have a YouTube channel, so let's do a video for that as well. So it's kind of, I think that's why we've been able to do as much as we've done. And we've been in the motorcycle industry for a bit. I think I started posting on Instagram in 2008, 2009 or something like that. I can't even remember, but really why I started doing it was to find other female riders to ride with. Because going back, I didn't grow up around bikes. I had two sisters. So the first time I ever was on a bike was in my early 20s. Someone gave me a helmet, and then it was a few years later I had this helmet, and I'm like, what do I do with it? And I was talking to one of my mentors, and I'm like, I should just chuck it in the trash. Or I was like, or I could take a class. And he was like, no, you should take a class.
Blasphemy.
And I'm
I'm going to chuck it in the trash. I had to stop for that one.
I was like, oh, when am I going to use this thing? It was just sitting collecting dust. And I had no idea how to ride a motorcycle. I didn't grow up around it. I didn't know a single person who rode a motorcycle. So what was I going to do? And I ended up taking an MSF course, got my license, and I was talking to the instructor afterwards, and I was like, okay, sign me up for class 2. And he's like, there's no class 2, you buy a bike. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. But I found a bike, and that was, I bought a used bike, and the guy who I bought it from, he knew I was new to riding, and I asked him 1,000,001 questions. And to this day, if I call him or if I text him, he'll answer me. But my first year of riding, I rode by myself. I didn't have a single person that I rode with. So anyways, I wanted to find other women to ride with, and I was running into a lot of men, and going back to riding with like maybe some sketchy people, I ran into a female that was riding. She was at a Starbucks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you ride? We need to ride together. She was like, oh, I ride on Thursdays. It's bike night. You should come. And so I show up. She doesn't, and it's like me and 30 guys. And that was a little terrifying of a ride because yes, they were showing off. Like all of them were showing off riding, and I was like, this I do not want to happen again. How do I find people who I can ride with that don't intimidate me? And so that's when I got on social media. That's why I was on Instagram to begin with.
So would you say that influenced you, the fact that small experience where you thought you were going to meet with somebody else, but then you end up meeting with a group of guys? Would you say that kind of hinders you now from riding in terms of group rides with people, or you kind of keep a small pack, your little wolf pack, and do your thing?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like my wolf pack. I mean, I don't mind riding in groups. I don't want to ride in like, technical roads, or I don't want to ride with a lot of people that I don't know their skill level. So it just depends. But if I want to go like have fun for a day in the mountains, then I'd rather ride with people that I know their skill level, and that, we can just go hang out and relax.
Okay. Oh man, I gotta tell you, man, just seeing some of your writing, some of your just the writing and some of the posts that you guys do on Instagram, I think anybody would be hard pressed to say that you guys don't go hard when you ride. Would you say when you're out, people tend to either challenge you guys? Because I find it often, even with other guys, when we're on the road, if another bike pull up next to you, it's kind of like, let's go kind of thing. And do they ever get like pleasantly surprised realizing, oh man, she is way better than I thought? Do you get any of that?
So I think that happens mostly in the city when you're side by side next to each other. I will say that in our local mountain, Blood Mountain, going up the mountain for sure.
Okay.
Like there's the guys out there that treat it like a track day, and they will for sure like try to beat everyone up the mountain. I don't think it's regardless of who you are, your sex or whatever, but I can only imagine the ponytail effect. If they see a ponytail in front of them, I'm sure that gives them a little bit more incentive.
Yeah, I think anybody that sees you guys going down the road, either they're gonna gas. You've seen that meme where the guy is hearing the bikes pass by, and then they're just like, "Huh, I gotta finish gassing. I gotta catch up." For you guys, when they see like a ponytail, they're like, "Oh, I gotta catch up."
Yeah. I mean, it's just not the norm. Actually, what my favorite is the soccer mom, like in the van. I'll pull up and like we're both at a stoplight, and she'll like look over and give me like a big like thumbs up, and like that's my favorite. Or the little kids that wave, like the little girls or little boys, either one, like they'll wave. I think that's kind of cute.
Well, that's kind of cool because you're inspiring new people to kind of become writers, or even other people that maybe dreamt of doing it, or at some point in their life they wanted to do it and then they kind of got scared off. So that's one of the great things about seeing all walks of life ride bikes. All right, so you have really younger guys that kind of talk others or friends into it, but then when you start seeing someone that you really can relate to, you can really say, maybe I could actually really do this. And that's why I kind of love about the whole Moto Tribe YouTube page. I like the fact that you guys are not only just joining YouTube over the lockdown, right? You merging your passion about writing and your friendships, and now you're slowly doing press events, right? More and more. I think it's an avenue that just so happened to kind of go down. That's working perfect. It's like the perfect thing. You know what I mean? I think. And hearing Red Spade's review and hearing your review for the Monster, it was pretty. You couldn't tell if it was somebody that just started doing it. I think that's kind of the natural thing about it. So.
Well, I appreciate that, but I think we can always use tips, and like your tip about making sure that it doesn't take over everything. And I know like right now it's winter and it's snowing in Atlanta, so it's not the time to ride. And it's always good to have a break from things. And I know that we've had some internal conversations of what we want to do for Moto Tribe this year, and pretty excited about it. But it's not all we talk about, for sure. Like through December, I think we were more talking about the holidays and seeing what's going on in each other's lives. So I think that's the neat thing. It's like all of a sudden, like we'll pepper in some conversation of, oh, we should do something for Moto Tribe. So it's kind of like casual and easy, which is why it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's a very important thing to remember. We had another YouTuber on last week, Brandon Picasso. One of his long-term videos, I think, where he kind of spoke about 2021, things he could have done differently, things he could have done better. And one small takeaway I took from one of his videos was that for him to have fun, I think there's a point where it becomes, whether it's just you just doing track or riding with people or doing YouTube or whatever it may be, where you become so enamored with the whole thing, or you just like narrow-minded, you just tunnel vision into it, and that you're not having as much fun. So that's one of the biggest pitfalls. I always tell people, just if you guys are doing it and you're enjoying it, great, and just kind of time frame it. It's like not just kind of constantly brainstorming and making it happen. You guys are growing organically, so I think that's kind of cool too. I think in a lot of cases, people tend to spend years, I mean, including myself, just kind of get my brand or my take on things to take off. It's kind of more of a slow burn, but what's happening is natural, and you could see your passion and the whole group's passion positively impacting like your growth. So it's a natural transition. Do you get anybody from your Instagram to slowly go in Moto Tribe, or not yet, or is it happening naturally?
Yeah, we have some people that follow it, but we also see that it's two different audiences. You have the Instagram audience that may just want to look at pictures, and then you have a YouTube audience that prefers longer form content that will watch a video. And so we're finding that there is some crossover, but not as much as I think as we initially thought, which is completely understandable. So in some ways we're starting over. And in some ways it's kind of nice. It's fun because we're fresh and we can do whatever we want to do, and it's okay if we make mistakes, especially because none of us are experts. Like, we're learning how to video edit. The video you showed, I actually edited that video, and I'm proud of it because I learned how to video edit in the past, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. So like, to me, it's something to learn and to do, and we'll get better along the way.
Yeah, well, I think it looks great. I think it was a perfect highlight. The minute I saw it on Instagram, I'm like, I definitely got to roll this clip because I want to show, because it embodies what you guys do. It embodies the fact that you love riding and going on adventures. I got to say that it's pretty good. And if this is your starting point, then you guys are going to be looking really good moving forward and stuff like that. So I also wanted to ask, what do you prefer to ride, street or more track? I mean, I think you lightly spoke about doing track days, and then now you mainly do street. Do you prefer that?
Yeah, I prefer street. Well, I prefer the mountains. I don't like riding in the city. So I live in a city. It's not fun to be in traffic. It's not fun to, stop and go. I really do enjoy the mountains, the scenery, fresh air. And I prefer going on rides that I've never ridden before or new places. So I have a hard time like doing the same thing over and over again. So like last year we went to Asheville, we did a Tail of the Dragon, we did some in North Georgia mountains, and hopefully we can continue to vary it up, because that's the most fun, is when you're doing a ride that it's not like a routine, it's something that's different, out of the norm. Because that's some of why I love motorcycling, is because during the week I'm behind a computer all week, and so it's nice to get out and do something different.
Yeah, so it's really good to kind of see that. I have to ask you about one thing too. I thought, because since you like riding more the mountains, and I know you mainly shared a big passion for BMW, so very superbike style, and I'm seeing more and more with you riding the Monster a lot. Would you say you're leaning more towards the naked style of riding or superbike? Because for me, I have a couple of bikes, and I'm definitely looking to buy a superbike. The only reason I haven't bought mine yet is because I wanted to be the last thing I get in my collection, because living in New York, I mean, you do have spaces where you can ride mountains or street or traffic, whatever, if people prefer, but I don't think anybody do. But would you say you like one style better than another, or are you leaning more outwards after you're done with the superbike, or are you still pretty passionate about both?
I love the superbike taking turns in the mountain, like long sweepers. The Monster is a little bit more manageable on tight twisties. If I'm going on a trip and I need to carry luggage, I prefer the Monster. It's a more comfortable ride. In the summer, the V4, so that my Speciale can get kind of hot. And so like if I'm doing a lot of like stopping and going, or if I'm going to be on the bike for a really long time, then the Monster's more upright. I get more wind and it cools me down. So, but in the winter, it's the reverse. So like right now, I prefer to ride my Speciale because it'll keep me warm. And then I have like the big bubble, you know, and keep my head down.
Oh my God.
So it's not so cold.
So here's the other thing too I've noticed on Moto Tribe. You guys are doing some videos where you're working on your own bike. I know some of them are not like huge repairs and stuff like that, but you guys are getting your hands dirty. This is always great to see. Just anybody working on their bike. So walk me through that. I had to ask.
I can't claim that, but I can. Red Spade Anna is she works on her bike. She's very good. I can. The things I can do is I can change my tires.
Okay.
I can change my brakes. I can do like the minor things. I can't really do the major things. I know Anna has switched her exhaust, and she's done a lot more than I have. But yes, you know, I think it's good to know some of the basics like tire change and brakes and the things that are maintenance related.
Well, you know what? So don't think those are minor things, because those are pretty much most of the main things everyone does. Oil change, tire change. To be honest, I haven't really done any tire change in my bike because I need a lift, and I'm just being lazy about it. But trust me, that's a big deal, just doing some of that stuff. And the reason why I kind of went towards that way regarding the conversation, I love the fact that each one of you guys are bringing something slightly different to the whole Moto Tribe movement. So that's kind of cool. I did notice it was Red Spade that was doing the oil change and stuff, but that's still fine. I love the fact that it's not a one trick thing. I've seen, you know, your reviews are different, hers are different. Some people are doing stories I'm seeing out of you guys, and I'm seeing also some of the oil change stuff. So that's pretty cool in itself, and I think that's what's going to make it very unique and very fun to watch. And one thing I try not to be so much so about guys and girls and stuff, because people ride, we ride, doesn't matter who the person is. But what I think that's interesting is that, damn, I'm totally drawing a blank on that. I was totally thinking of something very interesting to ask you, but I bet you it will come back to me though.
I have a question for you. I know you work on your bikes, right? I've seen some of your videos. And,
oh my God, you seen it? Hopefully I didn't embarrass myself. What did you see? Tell me.
No, I mean, it was amazing because I really do. I very much admire people who work on their own bikes that can, you know, get in there and know everything about them. I did not grow up in that kind of background whatsoever. So I appreciate people who can work on their bike.
What did you see that I worked on? Was it? I'm curious which video, because I've done so many. Sometimes I've actually done a couple of installs or taken apart some of the bikes, and I've never uploaded. It's just sitting somewhere in a hard drive somewhere. But
I think they're always useful to watch, because I know when we were taking apart my V4 Speciale, because I wanted to put some the radiator guards on there, and so we, you know, being able to Google search my bike and see like exactly how to take off all the fairings is so useful. So, you know, the how-to videos, because you think about why people are going to YouTube, they're going to learn something, to be entertained. You know, it's a longer form content. So I think that, you know, whenever you're showing some sort of educational piece, it can be really useful for audiences. How long have you had your channel now?
I've had it for a couple of years, but I did take about 2 years off because my wife ended up getting sick and she was in a coma. So that's kind of a little bit of a long story. And I stopped for about 2 years plus. I'm just kind of revamping things and coming back now. So, and I thought to myself, it'd be great to kind of add value to the channel by doing the stream and stuff. But I've always been very passionate about editing and doing art and stuff. So it was a natural progression to at least, you know, do presentations and design and stuff like that. So that ended up working somewhat hand in hand. So that's one of the positive, at least from what came out of it. But you can always see someone's personal life into their bike life, I think, if you notice. Like from you being who you are, you could see the calmness when you ride or the way you approach riding, right? Same thing in your personal life to what you do when you're on your bike. But it came back to me what I wanted to ask you, which is great. I wanted to ask you about safety and going down. If it ever happened, I always see you in leathers. I did mention that in the very beginning. And not very often. I don't wear leathers when I go out, but I do wear like boots and a riding jacket and stuff like that. But I think this season coming around, maybe because I'm becoming a little bit more mature, and it's like, I don't want to risk anything at all. So, but I always see you in leathers. Tell me, I think pretty much you and all the girls also always fully ready to go.
Yeah, you know, funny enough, like I'm adverse to risk. I don't like risk.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I love riding a motorcycle. So then, like, how do you manage the risk? And for me, it's also about safety. So when I got a motorcycle, my parents pretty much wanted to divorce me as a kid. Legitimately. So, you know, I'm like trying to ease their fears. I'm trying to make this as safe as possible. So one of those things is I did want to make sure that I was always geared up. And it does, like, once you start wearing leather, it's hard to not wear like protection when you go out and ride. You almost feel naked. Yeah, I do wear like riding jeans sometimes, and again, those are pretty great as well. If I were to ever go down and have a crash, leather's the best. But same thing with the V4 and the Monster. Both bikes are kind of hot. They can run a little hot.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have leather or something really thick, so my legs don't burn. So that's another reason to wear it. But yeah, I mean, it's really about safety and it's now, it would just feel weird not to wear gear, being out and about and riding.
So it's almost like second nature. I mean, I would agree. Those bikes definitely run hot, and safety is like a huge deal. So I'm assuming you've never been down, right?
No, I have been down for
You've been.
sure. So I've had like stupid downs, like. I'm really bad with maneuvering my bike when like in like on a sidewalk or something. So I've dropped my bike on a sidewalk. I've like if I don't have the right balance. There was another time I was trying to park my bike on a sidewalk, and I thought I had a footing and it fell over. I have crashed at track once, but I've never crashed on street. So yeah. I've never, I've been riding over a decade, and I haven't so far yet crashed on the street. I have crashed on track. It was an easy low side. I was going really fast. I was probably going 100. So I was going pretty fast, but it was easy. I popped up and it was no problem. I mean, my knee was pretty much on the ground, and, you know, the bike just slid out underneath me. But it wasn't bad at all. And again, I was wearing gear, so that's going 100 and a crash not being bad. Gear helps.
That's the beauty of wearing leathers. Everybody says the same thing. If you slide out, yes, your bike will get damaged, but with the leathers on, you're gonna be pretty much good to go. Now, here's the thing: how did you transition outside of that? Because I for you it's a little bit different because you crash on track. I think when you crash on track, it's very different than crashing in the street. It tend to have this little mental impact on how you ride moving forward. Did you encounter that?
Yes, I did. I did encounter that when I, got back to riding. But it was a little different because, again, it happened on track versus on the street. And that's an interesting point you make. But I know that my friends who've crashed on the street, it's the same thing. It bothers them just a little bit. And again, so when I crashed on track, I had never gone down before. So I think there was a part of me that thought that I was invincible, that I would never go down. I've pushed it so hard at track, and it had never happened. And so when it did happen, again, it was a really easy low side.
Mm-hmm.
It did make me understand that it is possible to go down.
Yeah. So, the funny thing is I think it has this mental thing. I think a lot of time when any one of us crash or drop our bikes, I think especially after going for a long stretch of never encountering any problems or never dropping your bike, right? You start building this invincibility shield around you where you think that you can go as fast as you want, you can do whatever you want. I think it sets you back a little bit. At least my personal experience, I was a little iffy afterwards. It was less about the bike or anything, or even finding comfort in really leaning as far as I used to. I'm like, what if this slides? I'd be right in the middle, like just, what if that goes? I would have that mental break, like in between, like a super fast corner or something like that. And I think it takes a period of time for you to kind of overcome that. And then I end up finding a new founding respect for the bike and the road almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thankful that my crash was what it was, because I've had other closer calls, especially on track. And it's like us having this conversation is reminding me of it. There's been a lot of people who've crashed right in front of me on track. And that's terrifying because they like slide right in front of you and you're going, and you could easily, if it would have been a second later, you would have run over them.
Yeah.
So I was thankful that the time that I went down, it was that. It wasn't anything more significant, but it does make you, very, it makes you present that, it can happen, and you need to be as safe as possible. So that gets back to the whole safety thing that, yes, I wear gear for sure. And if I'm going around the block or something, then I'll still wear a helmet and stuff for the most part. But I mean, maybe I wear my normal jeans. But if I'm going anywhere significant, then for sure I'm in like my riding jeans or leathers or whatever else.
Yeah, that's really great to know, because I mean, it took me a while to. I think everybody that starts riding, especially if you start riding in the beginning, you tend to just ride because as long as you have a helmet and gloves and stuff. And I think everybody has that oh shit experience where it's like, I need to take this a little bit more serious, or I'm not invincible kind of thing. I think everybody encounters that, no matter who the person is or what they say about their riding experience. But I think you get to a point where it's like, this is great, this is fun, but is it worth everything? So at least that's always been my approach when talking about bikes and stuff like that. So
yeah, and going back to it, like when I first got into riding, there wasn't really female gear. I mean, and when I took a course, and the gear I bought, like the women's gear, didn't have any protection in it.
Oh wow.
Whatsoever. It was like gloves, but there was no protection. And when you take the course, they just tell you a long sleeve t-shirt is what you need to take the course. And I don't think at the time when I took it, they weren't giving you like the proper, like, this is really what you should be wearing. And then it took me a bit to understand that. Like I was just wearing like a fashion leather jacket when I was first riding. Not like realizing like really what gear was. And then I learned what gear was. And like when I went to the store, there was pretty much only men's stuff there that had protection in it. So I was wearing a men's jacket for a bit, I think for a year or two. And then it's like all of a sudden, like women's gear has come along. And so, going back to Moto Tribe, I think that's one of the things that we want to make it more approachable for women. I mean, we're not for like women only, but like if there's a woman rider that is curious about it, then maybe they would be attracted to our channel and hear our stories. And, I do wear gear, and it's to show maybe women who are new to riding that, yeah, there's gear out there, and, I mean, we're all different shapes and sizes, but you can find something that fits and looks relatively decent.
Yeah, because you know what I saw recently? I saw a video of Red Spade going down, I think on her Honda. I don't know if it's a current video or maybe it was before. And watching from the outside, I was like, oh my God. But again, she's always in leathers also, so I'm assuming that she's probably had a shared experience about going down and how it impact also. But hers was in the mountains, so from what I saw, and I'm like, wow. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like as you get a little bit more mature, it's like your riding changes a little bit. So do you see yourself changing your bike, moving down the line, going from a Speciale or something like a cruiser? Because I saw you on a what's that new Harley?
Pan Am.
What is it? No, not the Pan Am. I've seen you on the Pan America, but
test rode those, and I'd love to do some like off-road, like adventure riding. That'd be a lot of fun. As I think about the riding that we've done, I've done, obviously like street riding, track riding. I did try dirt. Dirt is a whole other animal. Yep. I fell down. I mean, talking about falling down, I fell down more times than I can count. I mean, I walked away from that little beaten up, but I mean, that was fun. But yeah, I'd like to do some like trail riding or, off-road riding. That'd be a lot of fun. And we've been riding mini bikes too. And I had this brilliant idea. I found this road that I thought was a really nice and curvy road a few months ago. And I had it planned out for me and Anna to ride, so Red Spade. And we get up there and we can't find it. And we realize that it's a service road and it's gravel road. And so obviously we didn't take our big bikes on it, but we're like, we should come back here and bring the minis because we can handle the mini bikes going on these service roads. So that'll be another ride that we do.
So do you guys trailer your bike or you ride it all the way through for something like this?
So for mini bikes, we'll trailer them.
Okay.
But for the big bikes, we ride them. So I live in Atlanta, and to get to the mountains takes me an hour and a half. Okay. And then we ride all day and then an hour and a half home. So it can be a really long day of riding.
Yes. It's pretty much similar to in New York. In New York, it's within an hour outside of New York City, you can get to pretty much any style of roads, whether you want to do like off-road or you want to go mountain riding. You'll find some of those roads as well out here too. So very similar style of riding. There's quite a few people here that are jumping in. I just want to say hello to everybody. Let me see here. Taze, I think I'm saying his name right. Taze Elements. Let's see what we got. We have Scarface 03 XXX. Guys, you guys have the craziest names. And me finding out how to pronounce it's pretty wild. We have Dragon Chi also. I think he's out of Atlanta. Donna Main also is here. Adobo Moto's here also. NYC Street Triple is here, guys. If you are here, guys, hit the thumbs up. Also, I'd appreciate it if you guys would sub to their channel as well, because they are gonna blow up and you're gonna be like, oh man, Mike told me way before, so I'm already part of that. So we have Solo Black 313, riding with Brad. I think he's out here in New York and Brooklyn. Let's see what else we got. Some Dude. Oh, interesting name, Some Dude. If you guys have any questions you want to throw down in the live chat, guys, I'd appreciate it. And what we'll do towards the end, we will definitely just answer some of those. So, Laura, I have to ask, is the name Laura Craft a play on Lara Croft? I'm assuming it was
named after me. Huh? Her name's a play on my name.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah. I mean, it's my real name, so I always get that when I go to the airport. People are like, "What,
Wait.
dude?"
That's your full name.
Yeah, that's my real name.
Holy, okay, never mind. So I'm like, oh, that's probably just a play on Lara Croft. Okay, I get it. Never mind then. Look at that.
Yeah, right.
That's a little gem for you guys that are watching. Even for myself, I didn't know neither. So that's pretty cool. Oh man, that's too good. Here I'm thinking there's gonna be a whole story behind it and then how you explain it, or maybe you're like a gamer. She's like, nah, that's my name. They just bit off me.
I know. So like, it was so funny because people were coming to me and be like, Tomb Raider, and I'm like, are they making fun of me? Like, what's going on here? And then I put it all together that it was a video game.
Yep, video game. Then you have the movie, and then yeah. So
But if there's going to be an association, it's not a bad association.
no, absolutely not. It's gonna be a pretty good association. So I'm gonna have you definitely go check out the Street Fighter, since I know you have the Speciale and you like that. You definitely got to take that bike out. I want to hear your thoughts and opinion, or at least see you guys do a review on it and just a take on it. Because for me, it's one of my favorite. It's not my ultimate favorite bike, but I'm just saying it's the easiest thing to ride and the most comfortable. I love the fact that the rear cylinders tend to turn off when you're in New York traffic. They turn off kind of thing, so it keeps the heat down. And when you need that extra oomph and it kind of come back to life kind of thing, it's a really impressive bike. And I think you guys would do an amazing review just talking about it, just to hear your unbiased opinion. So
Yeah, have you ridden the V4?
well, not the Speciale, but my Street Fighter is a V4. It's the same power plant as that bike.
Yeah. But I hear that they ride differently. I guess they're just tuned differently.
Yeah, they're tuned pretty differently. Yeah. So I have to ask. I saw you did the Monster press event with Ducati, but it was all girls, right?
Yes, that was an all girls.
Any particular reason why they did it that way, or was it just one of those things they happened to do and kind of highlight on the bike?
I think Ducati, they wanted to do an all girls event. They had other events earlier in the week, like press events that were not all girls, but for this particular one, they did want to do all girls. It's a really light bike. It's fun. It's nimble. I'd say people who are getting into riding, especially women, it would be a bike that's approachable. It rides very smooth. Again, I feel like all Ducatis have different personalities.
Yes.
Versus, and I'm not such an expert on all brands, but I think some brands tend to ride more similar. Whereas I think Ducati, each bike can be very different from the next from Ducati. And I'm curious what your favorite bike is, because you mentioned it. So I'm really curious. Is it a Ducati? Is it something else?
Nah, I think my Monster's like my favorite bike out the all. It's not the fastest one, but it's very flexible. It's light. It's easy for you to pretty much do everything. There's a lot of torque. So for you, if you're in New York or if you're in like a cityscape area, it's perfect for that. And if you want a little bit more, the bike is pretty versatile. My only downside about that bike is the service interval, which was the next thing I was going to ask you about, since you have two Ducatis. Service intervals on the Monster, at least on my Monster, is about 7,500 to 8,000 miles, and that's the valve service. So that could be pricey in New York. I know it might be different in Atlanta. So to people that are hesitant about riding Ducati or getting them, what's your take on owning two of them?
Yeah, so my Monster's been relatively easy to maintain. My V4, because it's the 2018, I've had some issues along the way, like my clutch.
Okay.
I had to get a whole new clutch system. They replaced the master cylinder, and that didn't fix it. Essentially, I had to burp my bike every time because there was air in the line.
Okay.
And then finally, they switched it all out. So that was one thing. And actually, back in the fall, I was riding and a rock hit my radiator on my.
Oh my God! I gotta stop you. I preach this to everyone. Please tell me you did it. Please tell me you had a radiator guard on it.
You know, I have a radiator guard on all my other bikes.
Oh,
and
she did
not on this one.
She did.
So the great thing about it is we were like 2 streets away from home, and then I noticed my bike was saying hot, and I'm like, okay, and I like pulled in, and obviously fluid was coming out, and it didn't crash me or anything of the sorts, and we just parked it and then trailered it to the shop, and they and now it has a radiator guard, and that's all fixed.
See, guys,
but luckily I wasn't like stranded because Anna Red Spade,
Yeah.
her radiator broke, and we were an hour and a half away, so we had to leave her bike and go pick it, like go back, get a car and trailer and get it. So luckily it was like when it happened, we were home.
I preach this to everybody all the time. Don't get an exhaust. Don't get all these fancy things. Get that radiator guard, because I did mine on the Street Fighter, and it was a journey. Okay, at that bike, you have to strip it down all the way to the damn baseline to put the radiator guard on. But it's worth doing it, because every time I tell somebody, it's like, make sure you get that done, or do it as a dealer. Whichever way you do frame sliders, do that, because that repair itself is not going to be covered by warranty, and it's going to be costly, and the work. So you guys heard it from 2 other people that's encountered this issue, and I don't think it's something that's talked about a lot. So it's kind of good that you kind of brought that up. Now I want to ask you, like, is that new monster did they call it is it 800?
It's a 937 if my memory serves me right.
Do you prefer that monster over your 1200S? I have to ask. I know what you're gonna answer. I already know what you're gonna. I know what you're gonna answer.
I prefer my 1200.
Yeah. That trellis frame is so dope. It looks good, it has personality, and I get why they did some of the change, to make it a lot more lightweight. Instead of getting a bigger engine, they took like a tried and true. It's the same one that's on the Hyper and the 959. So they kept that engine, that power plant, and then trimmed down a lot of things for weight. Then sacrificed a little bit of styling, I think. But I think. Go ahead.
I like the headlight.
Yes.
I think that it's almost too light.
Really?
My personal opinion. But we were in San Francisco riding it, and when a bike is too light, well, it can, if the wind's blowing, it can kind of blow so it didn't feel as planted. So sometimes weight can be your friend on a bike, because it can make the bike feel a lot more planted.
That's the first time hearing too light could be an issue. Everybody wants a super light bike, to be honest. But yeah, I would definitely go with the 1200S. I love the way that bike looks, the way it's sound. And I was a little hesitant. I used to call the trellis frame like a spider web a little bit when they kind of changed it a little bit. And it grew on me a lot, and I love its own personality. But the fact that they went with a monocoque setup to the triple tree, yes, it's lighter, but you don't have that whole red trellis frame thing. So it's a hard one to swallow, and I'm waiting for it to grow on me, and it's like, it's not happening. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. I get you, especially being like, classically, like when I was trying to find my first motorcycle, I gravitated towards the Monster, but I didn't buy a Monster. I didn't buy a Ducati as my first bike, but I always loved the look of it.
Yeah. They have tons of personality. So I guess we will wrap up. Guys, it's been about an hour. I don't want to keep her too long, which would be unfair. It is Sunday night. So anything you want to, I'm going to go over some of the, if you guys have any comments and stuff, I will reply them. You might not see Laura on the screen, but she will be able to see the comments, and she'll be able to reply with me. So definitely hit the thumbs up if you're watching. Anything you want to tell anybody while we're here on the stream before we close out, Laura?
No, thanks so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. And, I love the intro and all the work that you've done to put into this. It makes me want to up my game and up our game on Moto Tribe. So thanks for that.
No, it was a pleasure. I think it was really, really worth it. And I love hearing your take on writing and stuff. And hopefully I did you some justice tonight. All right, so here we go, guys. I'm just going to kind of pull up some of the comments so we could take a quick look. And, yeah. There we go. What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's just me. Don't panic. she's still here. She could see the comments, guys. If you do have any comments you want to throw in the comment section, that'd be great. We can both see them. I'm just kind of setting that up really, really quickly here. I guess what we could do is kind of go through most of the comment, guys. By the way, if you guys are tuned in and you are watching, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. I know it takes people's time and effort to come here and spend time on a Sunday night, but we do appreciate it quite a bit. All right, so, oh, by the way, for those of you guys that are watching and you're watching this later, definitely hit the thumbs up. Leave any comments in the comment section, and I will reply even though you're not part of the live chat. And there are some pretty cool things you might want to recap regarding this live stream, especially the intro. You could take a quick look and get to know Laura also and what she does with press events and a Moto tribe. So I think you guys would definitely like that. So let's take a quick look at some of these comment, guys. I guess I'll start from the bottom, right? Would you guys agree? Would you want to say, hit me with a thumbs up if you want me to start with the bottom comments or go from the very top and then down? Some of them are just comments and some of them are just questions. Let's see. All right, we'll just start from here. There we go. We got Governor D Nice first up, Laura. Hopefully you can make out, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So, all right, everyone, got to wrap it up. Wrangle up the kids. Okay, so you have children because they're supposed to be asleep, and I still hear them. Another great one, Mike. Nice meeting you, Laura. Sub to Moto Tribe. Thank you, D Nice. We appreciate you subscribing to their team. That'll be awesome. And thank you for always coming through, man, and watching. Let's see here. We have Red Spade. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully we can get you on as well. So this is an open invitation to you. So I make Laura all the dinner reservation because I love seeing the hottest impression. Haha. So just the general comment. Let's see here. All right, so we have Futuristic Viper here. This is a comment to Red Spade. I guess he's talking to her on the chat. I remember your Instagram story on your crash. Your comeback was inspirational. Yeah, this is something we'd definitely love to hear about, dealing with going down and dealing with it. So hopefully we can get her on and then we can actually hear that story. So that'll be awesome. And we have Red Spade here mentioning crashing on the street definitely sucks. Got in my head for a long time. Yeah, I went down in the street as well. And actually, I went down the street maybe 3 times. And it really changed on how you look, the way you're riding, and your opinion about how you feel mentally when you're on the road. So, you know, it's something for everybody. Futuristic Viper. Hopefully this is not a weirdo comment. Thank you very much, sir. He said he'll let Red Spade work on his bike and he'll have beers lined up. Be nice and behave, guys. Be respectful. But nothing too crazy, which is good. Let's see what we got. Futuristic Viper. Hopefully this... So we have Life with Anna B. That's my wife right there. If I saw all three of them riding by, I'd be super happy and totally honk and give them a thumbs up. Yeah, you better. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up from the top because it looks like there's some trending comments at the end. Let's see. We have Adobo Moto. I really love Ducati, but I can never take a V4 to the track. It would hurt my soul to drop that bike. Now that I'm on an S1000RR, it's a better bike all around, and I can't wait to hit the track with it. What's your take on this, Laura?
I love the S1000RR on track. I have not taken my V4 to the track, so I can't say in all honesty, but I have ridden the Panigale on track. The S1000RR is really, I think, a lot more. It's easier to ride, more manageable, and a lot of fun. It's more about you versus the bike, like your performance.
What's your take on him not taking the bike to the track because of it being a Ducati?
You got to take it to the track. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like any bike can be taken to the track. Ducatis are meant for the track. I mean, V4s are meant for the track, really.
I agree, but I understand where he's coming from. Also, I think it hurts the soul knowing that if you dump the bike, but I think you have to. I think I've heard that from a couple of people. It's like you have to take. If you have a Ducati, you have to take it to the track. They're designed for that. So, and riding with Brad, he mentioned Ducatis are sexy. I have to admit it. So, which is pretty cool because he's a big BMW guy. He has an S1000RR. So, it's very interesting to see him say that about Ducati because a lot of people tend to, if they're on the BMW side, it's tough to see them give any Ducati any accolades. Let's see what we got here. We have Solo Black. Oh, he's just saying hello from Detroit, which is cool. Let's see what else we got. So I've never ridden there. This is Tazi Elements. Hopefully I'm saying this first name correctly. Blood Mountain is amazing to ride. I've never ridden there. Hopefully in the future I would probably make my way out there and ride. But would you say it's the place? Because everyone is pretty adamant about riding Blood Mountain. A lot of videos on YouTube about Blood Mountain.
Blood Mountain's a lot of fun to ride. There's a lot of other roads right around there. There's Russell Scenic Highway. There's 60. There's Suches and Wolfpen Gap. So Blood Mountain is more of like a track experience. Russell Scenic Highway is long, sweepy roads. Wolfpen is tight twisties. And I also enjoy going north on 60. I think it's north, or maybe it's a little bit more northwest on 60 to Blue Ridge. I find that to be a lot of fun as well.
It's funny, Mr. 20 West mentioned exactly this here. He said, how does she feel about Wolfpen Gap? Would you say the S1000 feels better on Blood Mountain or the Ducati? That's a great question. That's for you.
So on Blood, let's see. I think that, so Wolfpen is tight. It's not great for a sport bike. I mean, you get a workout and it's like taking it on Tail of the Dragon. It's a workout on Wolfpen. On Blood Mountain, I like both my S1000 and my Ducati. They're different bikes. So my S1000, I sat more in the bike. And so it had a different, I leaned it different. And then the V4, my Panigale, the Speciale, I sit more on top of the bike. It's a little bit higher up. And so they ride different for me. I do have to put in a little bit more work with the Panigale, the Speciale over the S1000.
Quick question there. I think this is kind of in reference to what we're saying. Dragon, you mentioned I never thought of that concept when I go to Blood Mountain. Maybe this old head needs to go to the track instead. I think he's referring here to going up and down Blood Mountain when we spoke about not using it as a track, more of a ride to get to, I guess, the top of the mountain and enjoy yourself or whatever, and then back down, and people that goes up and down. So I think that's the part of the conversation I'm assuming that he's referring to here. Let's see here. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people that's in the chat here seems to be aware of Blood Mountain, and Wolfpen. These roads are completely unknown to me, guys, so it's kind of cool that people are asking and talking about it. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, it's quite crazy. I mean, 10 years ago or 8 years ago, not many people were riding Blood like they are now, but every weekend there's just a pack of riders around Blood Mountain. So I mean, in ways I don't want people to know about our roads, but our roads are quite amazing.
See here, I'm hitting it. Oh, the same dude, Trez Elements, mentioned that he's hitting Georgia in April for 5th trip. Can't wait. So I'm assuming Georgia got some really great roads. I mean, again, I see a lot of videos in Georgia and some of the roads there. And I've mentioned this before. It's one of the things that I plan to do at some point. Either if I get a van or something, I want to probably take one of my bikes and kind of travel around and ride. Hopefully sometime in the future, I might be able to do something like that. Let's see what else we got.
I think you should. You should definitely come south. I don't know that you've been to the Tail of the Dragon. That's fun. There's also the roads around there, not just that road, that are a lot of fun to ride. I'm blanking on them.
Okay. Like I said, I think it's something I'm definitely going to do for sure. Governor D. Nice here mentioned, is a Moto tribe just the 3 of you guys? Hoping to add more in your tribe. So is it just the 3 of you guys, and do you plan on expanding it, or just for now, just you guys and enjoying the ride?
You know, it's just it's the 3 of us. We're best friends, but of course, like we want everyone to watch us, to interact with and hang out. But in terms of like, we do a lot of interviews too. We went to Moto America and interviewed a bunch of the racers, which was a lot of fun. We went to Revzilla Get On Fest out in Texas, and we interviewed a bunch of the moto vloggers. So we have a lot of people on the channel when we're out and about.
Oh, there's a good question here. I'm gonna wrap up. I'm not holding you up any longer. I don't want to take your whole night, which would be completely unfair. But that guy Kells mentioned here, what is your tire of choice, street or track?
So I love Pirellis. Pirellis are amazing tires. Super Corsas are great on my V4. I do run some Metzlers on my Monster. I'm forgetting which ones they are off the top of my head, but I do like Metzler as well.
All right.
They're road tires, street tires.
Nice. All right, so I'm just gonna close this up real quick because definitely wanna let everyone here finish enjoying their night. Guys, thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. Really, really appreciate you guys all coming through tonight, and just really joining both Laura and I and chatting and enjoying our conversation. So thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Laura, anything you want to mention before we close out the night?
Just thanks so much for having me. I've had a lot of fun on this. This was, I mean, really, I couldn't imagine a better Sunday night. So I appreciate it.
All right.
Blast.
All right, guys, if you're tuning in and you're rewatching this later, definitely drop a comment. And as always, we go live every Sunday at 8 Eastern Standard Time. Always appreciate you watching. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up. You guys have a good night. Thank you all.